let's take it to a different streaming service. Let's take this to Hulu.
All right.
And this one, if you're a fan of old school hip hop, and by old school I mean like early '90s, because you can take hip hop back to the '70s.
You're right. Wow, man, the '90s is old school.
Yeah,
oh,
that's old school.
Okay.
Like
right.
Dr. Dre's The Chronic is like all the young kids are like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh man, we're in trouble." But if you're a fan of like the old school hip hop, if you're a fan of content that is for the children, not really, but if you're a fan of just of knowing the dramatized history of quite possibly one of the greatest groups in rap music to ever do it, and all the members incredibly talented. That's why you should be watching Wu-Tang and American Saga.
Wu-Tang forever.
That's right.
I had no idea the show even existed on Hulu, and I watch stuff on Hulu. I feel like they're not good at, like, before I'm watching one of their shows feeding me something that I should be watching. So I don't know why.
So it's like the Wu-Tang documentary, but all dramatized.
Yeah.
Because there's a like a 2-part Wu-Tang
there is a
documentary as well.
yeah.
So it's almost like that whole story, but turned into a series of just episodes, and you see the development of people's characters and
oh wow,
how RZA got a turntable.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you see, kind of where these
He
guys
almost
come
stole it, but he didn't because
he
had a change of heart. So
that's right.
RZA had a heart. So I didn't watch the documentary or this series. So is it new? There's a couple episodes in as of now, or it's already complete?
I think the second season might already be done, and so but the first 2 seasons they're great. They're great TV, and so if if you're just a little bit curious as to the backstory to all of these guys, especially the RZA, because he's I think he's a producer on this one, so you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that it's basically all about the RZA.
RZA's the real baby face in this one.
This is true, yeah.
Well, they've always just been a vibe. They're just like an energy, right? There's just something about, like, they've always felt even like more than just a band or more than just like a musical act. They just like create an energy. Like when you see something, like you see any artwork, or they inspire Quentin Tarantino, like part of the movies and the martial arts feel to it, and then just like the Justice League, Super Friend, Avenger type feel too. That each one has their own superpower type thing too. That's just like, that's always very compelling to think. We're talking about this being a simulation, that somebody took the time to code these characters like that.
Yeah, and it really is like the show's really well written, but if this really is their story, it was written for TV. It was written for a movie.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
And that's what makes it incredible, right?
Yeah.
It's literally ripped from the headlines. Like, no, even if they exaggerate just even a little bit of it, but it can't be. It's still pretty close enough to the truth for an average person to be like, WTF.
Yeah, and that was always taught in in writing classes and stuff like that in college. Like, you always have to, they always have to come up against something. Your protagonist has to come up against something, the antagonist, or just something that blocks that they can
conflict.
Conflict. They can get past this conflict, and there's so much conflict. But you're always rooting for these guys. Despite just maybe they're not the greatest, but you're like, well, this is kind of what they've had to come up in. And so, it's a great show.
All right. Yeah, I'm in.